Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. It was 1978, and millions of Americans gathered around their TVs to watch the wildly popular dating show, The Dating Game. On stage that day stood an attractive photographer with an impressive resume. He cracked jokes, exuded charm, and confidently outperformed his competition to win the heart of the bachelorette. His name, Rodney Alcala, a seemingly charismatic, eligible bachelor, or so everyone thought. What neither the studio audience nor the show producers knew was that Rodney Alcala was living a sinister double life. Behind the camera-ready smile hid a predatory mind and a horrifying trail of destruction. This is the darkly suspenseful tale of Rodney Alcala, the man who lived as both a television heartthrob and a ruthless killer, and yet even the most meticulously calculated masks can slip. Tonight, we'll uncover how one fatal mistake led to his downfall and justice for his victims. To everyone around him, Rodney Alcala seemed ordinary, even likable. Born in 1943, his early years didn't immediately reveal a penchant for darkness, nor the monster he would later become. But beneath the surface, troubling shadows began to emerge. In his 20s, after studying fine arts and dabbling in photography, Alcala began honing his charm into a weapon. As a self-styled photographer, he lured young women with promises of capturing their beauty. In reality, Alcala used his smooth talk and artistic ambition to entrap his prey. By the early 1970s, reports of violent crimes and missing women began piling up. But Rodney Alcala was careful, operating under a veil of charm that shielded him from suspicion for years. Incredibly, he even faced accusations of assault during this time, charges from which he walked away with hardly a scratch due to insufficient evidence. But the most surreal moment of Alcala's double life came in 1978, when he appeared on The Dating Game. It was supposed to be just another light-hearted episode where single men competed for a bachelorette's attention. Rodney Alcala was bachelor number 1, and his answers to the questions were playful, confident, and dripping with sexual innuendo. He easily won the game, and the bachelorette chose him for a dream date. But backstage, when the cameras stopped rolling, the bachelorette admitted something chilling. Alcala had given her the creeps. She declined to go on the date, unknowingly dodging a man who had already killed multiple women. The irony is undeniable. There, on national television, sat a murderer masquerading as a TV personality. But it wouldn't be his charm that undid him. It would be a misstep that pierced through his sinister facade. As captivating as his game show persona may have been, Alcala's true nature was irredeemably dark. He used his good looks and persuasive nature to lure victims, often promising them fame through his photography. Once alone, the horrifying reality came to light for his victims. Alcala was methodical and cruel. He manipulated, terrorized, and ultimately murdered his victims in cold blood. His crimes spanned years and states, from California to New York, leaving behind terrified communities and grieving families. One of his most infamous killings occurred in 1979, involving the brutal murder of a 12-year-old girl named Robin Samso. Her disappearance jolted her neighborhood, and Alcala became the prime suspect. But this time, there would be no slipping away unscathed. Alcala's downfall began with one critical error: his overconfidence. During the investigation into Robin's death, police found Alcala's storage locker in Seattle. Inside, they discovered an astonishing trove of evidence, a collection of photographs and mementos from his victims. Each image told its own haunting story, a piece of a puzzle that law enforcement was determined to complete. What Alcala didn't realize was that his arrogance would be his undoing. For all his calculated efforts to cover his tracks, this single cache of evidence connected him to more crimes than he could deny. In 1979, he was finally arrested and charged. The man who once charmed studio audiences was revealed as a predator of the worst kind, but the story was far from over. Rodney Alcala's trial was the beginning of what would become years of legal battles. In the courtroom, his once charming persona took on disturbing new shades. Alcala, ever the manipulator, chose to represent himself during portions of the trial, delivering his defense with unnerving composure. The evidence was overwhelming. Survivors came forward with bone-chilling stories. Families of victims shared their grief, painting agonizing portraits of the lives he destroyed, and the photographs from his locker became a focal point, disturbing images that hinted at a sinister scale of crimes far beyond initial estimates. Despite his efforts to sow doubt, Alcala was convicted and sentenced to death, but his case would remain a tangled web for years, with appeals, retrials, and updated charges emerging as more evidence surfaced. Perhaps one of the most haunting elements of Rodney Alcala's story is the collection of photographs found in his possession. The images, hundreds in total, featured women and girls, some identified, many not, posed and smiling, unaware of the terror awaiting them. To this day, investigators believe that these photographs could connect Alcala to even more unsolved cases. Families of missing persons have pored over these images, desperate for closure. The archive remains a testament to the scale of his twisted crimes, a visual ledger of lives interrupted by evil. In the end, the public fascination with Rodney Alcala is inseparable from the sheer audacity of his deception. He didn't just hide in the shadows, he stepped into the spotlight, flaunting his charm on national television while committing crimes that defy comprehension. For true crime enthusiasts, Alcala's case offers an unsettling lesson. It reminds us that evil doesn't always wear a scowl. It can smile, it can flirt, and it can win a dating game. The dating game killer's story forces us to confront terrifying questions about trust, deception, and the lengths to which predators will go to manipulate those around them. But it also shows the resilience of survivors, the determination of families, and the unrelenting pursuit of justice. Rodney Alcala spent the remainder of his life on death row before dying in 2021. Though the courts delivered justice for many victims, there are still unanswered questions. How many more lives did he claim? How many families still await closure? The story of Rodney Alcala doesn't end neatly, and perhaps it never truly will. What we're left with is the shadow of a man whose crimes remind us to question appearances and remain steadfast in the face of evil. This isn't just a tale about a cunning killer. It's a story that reveals how humanity can triumph over horror. Law enforcement, victims' families, and survivors all played a crucial role in ensuring that Alcala could charm no more. So, the next time you watch a seemingly innocent game show or meet someone whose charm feels a little too polished, remember this: even the brightest smiles can hide the darkest secrets, and sometimes those secrets come face to face with justice, no matter how long it takes. Rodney Alcala may have hidden behind a camera lens, but his story puts the spotlight on the importance of vigilance, resilience, and the pursuit of truth. For those whose lives were touched by his evil, and for those fascinated by the unraveling of his facade, he will forever be remembered as the dating game killer. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like to show your support. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update from Evil Unmasked. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below with your theories or suggestions for future topics. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.